Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Aroma Touch hand technique. If you've never had an Aroma Touch hand technique massage, it is something really amazing, fast, and just transformative. Many of you have probably heard about the Aroma Touch technique already. You've maybe had an Aroma Touch full body where your back, perhaps your neck, of course, and your feet are going to be engaged. But the hand technique is basically a brief way for you to engage with the essential oils and also connect with another person, which I think especially in our day and age is so incredibly important. So today we're going to dive in a little bit more deeply. I also have some background notes I think that are going to help you, some of the studies that have been done and some of the information that I think is particularly important and relevant to what we're going to be learning today. So hold on just a second. When we talk about the Aroma Touch technique, we're talking about actually a set of massage techniques that were developed by Dr. David Hill, and actually putting them in context. They are a wonderful group of essential oils. So you can see them here on the screen. So we've got 8 oils, if I'm not mistaken, everything from some blends to some singles. We're going to talk about the Aroma Touch training kit because I think it's important. One of the newest developments is that if you purchase the new Aroma Touch training kit, you'll actually receive a $97 US dollar training included with the kit. So you get the enrollment kit, you'll get that $97 training for free, and whatever the mechanism is, I think it's actually sort of a certificate or a piece of paper, and you're going to log in with a QR code and you're going to be able to hop on there and take that training, which is going to walk you through the entire Aroma Touch training kit. What I'm talking about today, though, is just the hand technique. I have to tell you, I don't know if I'm a gifted massage therapist. In fact, I don't know if I'm a massage therapist at all, but something about the Aroma Touch hand technique has really touched a chord for me, hit a chord, if you will, in a way that it never had before. Many of you know that my mother is elderly, and the concept that many of the elderly really don't have anyone who ever touches them. They have no one who comes and hugs them or gives them any sort of physical touch at all. And I think as human beings, just as human organisms, we need physical touch. And certainly now that we've gone through 2+ years of being separated from each other, the time has come for us to reconnect with people. So there's a couple of reasons why I like the Aroma Touch training kit. I'm going to talk a little bit about it briefly, but specifically the hand technique. So a couple of fun facts about Aroma. You know, your body actually has far more receptors associated with smell, over 1,000 actually, than it does for any other scent. So think about it for just a second. Even before we were able to connect with other people through speech, right? We were able to connect with them through touch. So there's a great connection, as we know, between our nose and our brain, and it's our brain's emotional system, and that's our limbic system. And the limbic system controls things like emotions and mood and memory, and that's why the name Aroma, or the aroma part of the Aroma Touch, is so incredibly important. The touch is super important, but so is the aroma. So you know that it's an oil application technique, which sounds like, okay, well, I'm going to slap on some oils. And many times when we put oils on ourselves, that's exactly what we do. We shake the oils out of the bottle, we rub our hands together, and then we quickly apply oils wherever we want to. This is really a more concerted effort, not only to help the oils absorb into the body, but it's a way for us to get in contact with another person. So as we're touching them, certainly the oils are going into their skin, but they're going into our skin too. So it's a two-way street, whether or not we're receiving an Aroma Touch technique or we are giving an Aroma Touch technique. And certainly the idea of the hand technique, holding someone's hand, being in contact with them, so incredibly powerful. Touch is actually the first sense that we acquire, right? So we know we have 5 senses, and the sense of touch is the first one when we're babies. Before everything else, we're in our mother's womb. We can actually feel the touch of our mom, and when we're in the womb, when we are delivered, doctors also touching us right away, mom and dad touching us right away. So our sense of touch is super important to us. It also helps us to develop that parent-child relationship, those bonds. Even before we learn to speak and communicate, we communicate through touch, right? And releasing, when we're touched by somebody else, there's a release of oxytocin, which is very important for bonding activities, and that holding hands can decrease the amount of cortisol in our body. So we're talking about being stressed or someone else being stressed. What a beautiful way to help them to get back into that state of calm that we all need, I guess, to get on to our next activities. Cortisol levels in general rise, and what happens when we are stressed out. And what we want to do for our general health is to kind of bring them back into a normal range. It becomes harder and harder. We get very stressed out to wind ourselves back. We want to make sure that we're able to wind ourselves back. Using the power of touch and the power of aroma, you really create a specific experience, and each experience is going to be a little bit different, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. So we know it's an essential oil hand technique, right? You can read that right off the screen, but it's also applied to the hands in a simple way. That's that really creates the impactful experience. If it was complicated, folks, we wouldn't do it. And I remember when I first saw it, I actually thought, I think I can do that. Didn't seem that hard to me, because it really is 3 basic steps. And if you can follow those steps and you can do a little bit of practice, you can get good at doing the aroma hand techniques. So why are we doing this? So there's a couple of reasons, right? That it's quick, that it's catered to the recipient, and it's easy to share oils on the go. But I want you to really concentrate on that second one. It's all about the recipient, right? If your recipient is tired and needs a pick-me-up, you can use a citrus oil. If your recipient is having trouble with focus, you can use Intune, our focus blend. Whatever the issue is, whatever they're talking about, whatever they're concerned about, you can cater the aroma touch to hand technique to their needs. And that's where it's so important today. Now, you can use individual oils, of course, or you can create custom blends. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. So now, if you don't have your pencil and paper out, at least get your phone out so you can take some photographs of the screen, because I'm going to be talking about some things that I think are really important to why this technique has just blossomed, if you will, over the last 6 months, because I think we are coming to a time where we really need this aroma touch hand technique. So there was a study done, and let me back up for a second. We all know that human clinical trials are the gold standard of scientific research because they provide direct, generalizable data on how the investigated subject matter impacts us and the real world. Many of the tests that have been done on essential oils in the past were done on animal subjects, which is not as relatable or as applicable all the time. Sometimes it is, but not completely. We really want clinical human trials, right? They're also very difficult to get approved, organize and conduct, and they can be expensive. So although there are over 10,000 peer-reviewed scientific studies on essential oils published in PubMed, and we all know if you go to PubMed.com, that's PubMed.com, it's the most widely search engine, the worldwide search engine, or widely used search engine, I think that's better, for life science and biomedical science research. A very small percent of the clinical trials on there are actually human trials. And that's not just true for essential oils. It's really true for all of the clinical trials. So we're not singled out because we're using essential oils. This is more true just because it's harder, right? So in the name of science, doTERRA is doing some of their own human clinical trials. And the second published human clinical in 2018 actually was as doTERRA investigated the proprietary benefits of the aroma touch hand technique, specifically using 2 essential oils. And I'm going to tell you what their essential oils are in a minute, but the effects were more powerful than the scientists really could have imagined. So the 2 oils are Copaiba and Deep Blue. So we've got a single and a blend. So these are the 2 oils that were studied. No other oils were used out of the hundreds of oils that doTERRA offers for sale. And as we know, Copaiba is not currently part of the aroma touch technique kit. So it's interesting Oh, gee, what did I do there? It's interesting that the Aroma Touch technique, essential oils, the deep blue is included, but the Copaiba is not. Super interesting. So 36% participants were studied, and this is a published study, as I mentioned, and they were evaluated by a physician, and they got some documentation as to their baseline measurements. The baseline measurements allowed them or had them take a questionnaire and had them do various functional assessments, their flexibility, and then they were going to receive the Aroma Touch hand technique for 5 consecutive days, right? So the treatment group received the Aroma Touch hand technique using a combination of doTERRA, Deep Blue, and Copaiba, and the control group received the same protocol, but just using fractionated coconut oil and a placebo. The question was, can these 2 oils improve hand function for individuals? So I want to know in the chat, do you think they can, do you think they would work? I think they will. But tell me what you think. Do you think they'll improve hand function for individuals? At the completion of the 5-day trial, all participants were reassessed using the same questionnaire and functional tests. So give me a yes, a Y in the chat, and I have the chat open so I can see if you think they would work, and then I'll tell you if they did or they didn't. So as I said, this is the study setup. You've got 36 total participants, half hand technique with Copaiba and Deep Blue, and half the hand technique with a placebo. So both of them were receiving the hand techniques, which is super interesting, but one of them was doing it with a placebo. So each participant received it twice a day, actually, for 5 days in a row, and measured their grip strength and other variables after their last test. And it helps to create, when you're talking about different things, not just subjective, like how do you feel, but actually looking at what they were able to do, their own abilities compared to their improved abilities after the test. Excuse me. What was the observed outcome? So this is super interesting. So of the 36, the 18 that actually got the Copaiba and the Deep Blue treated with the essential oil preparation had required significantly less time to complete dexterity tasks, showed about a 50% decrease in pain scores. They increased their finger strength and significantly increased the angle of maximum flexion compared to subjects treated with just coconut oil. So maximum flexion would be how tightly you can make a fist, right? So the conclusion, the scientists said, was that the Aroma Touch hand technique with the Copaiba and the Deep Blue can ameliorate the effects on hand arthritis. Whoa, that's important, because as we know, hand arthritis is something that affects millions of people certainly worldwide, but absolutely in the US, and can be debilitating for older people as they lose their grip, lose their ability to really hold on to railings or open things in their own homes. It can be more debilitating perhaps even than arthritis in other parts of the body, because we use our hands so much and we need them for our manual dexterity. So let's talk a little bit about, so I think that's amazing. If you think it's amazing, give me a 1 in the chat. Have you ever heard these results? I had never heard them before, at least not exactly in that way. So let's talk a little bit while you're giving me your 1s. If you don't think it's amazing, or you heard before and you're not so, you can give me a 2, but I hope everybody's going to give me a 1. Thank you, Kathy and Angie and Anna, who hopped in right away. Let's talk a little bit about skin science and why we dilute with fractionated coconut oil, usually when we do a hand technique or any type of massage. So the skin is composed of many different layers. The outermost layer is called the stratum corneum, which is composed of dead keratinized cells surrounded by intracellular glycolipids. And that layer is great at keeping out unwanted materials such as water, dirt, and microbes. However, the chemical constituents of essential oils do possess the properties of allowing them to pass through the stratum corneum. Okay, so that's very important, but they don't pass through all at once. The stratum cordium serves as a reservoir of lipophilic substances such as essential oils. And what we do when we add fractionated coconut oil is we actually slow the whole thing down. And we allow those substances to sit on the skin and to be absorbed more slowly, thereby prolonging their effects in the body. Ding. So what do we want? We want to have something that's going to prolong the effects of the body. As we know, essential oils can often have a quick flash point, meaning that they evaporate very quickly. We'd like to be able to retain these oils on the skin as much as possible. Personally, whenever I do an Aroma Touch hand technique, I'll usually use one oil that contains fractionated coconut oil, a blend like, say, Balance, and then I might add in a second essential oil that does not, like lemon, lime, or wild orange. So I'm getting the effects of the fractionated coconut oil from the blend that contains it, and then I'm adding in something that gives a little bit of extra boost, or maybe addresses the need of the person to whom I'm giving the Aroma Touch hand technique. Here's the other benefit of using a blend that's pre-mixed with fractionated coconut oil. It can be messy if you're putting one essential oil and two essential oils and then a squeeze of fractionated coconut oil. Personally, in my mind, I'm getting a hot mess, just splashing all over the place. The person's not happy. You got it on your clothes, maybe on their clothes, and then you've kind of ruined the moment, right? What can you do? You can pre-mix. So if you know you're going to be giving a series of hand technique massages all on a single day, you can actually pre-mix the blends, line them all up, put them in roller bottles, and then start working on people. You could put them in bottles and drop them into people's hands. Or, as I mentioned, you could use pre-mixed blends that are going to help you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. So let's talk now a little bit. And what I want to talk about are the 8 types of essential oils that you can be using if you're going to be thinking about the benefits of the essential oils. So these are the 8 main groups, and some of the oils are used for their emotional benefits, others are used for their physical benefits. When you review the 8 categories, notice that there are oils that have overlapping benefits. And even though some of them may have similar benefits, their aromas can be completely different. And that's very important when we're trying to personalize a hand technique. We're going to look first at the grounding oil category, because the oils in that category can smell completely different. So grounding essential oils are those that are going to be different from, say, restful or maybe uplifting. And I'm hoping that by showing you the differences in the slides, but also showing you the overlap, is going to help you to decide how they can be blended together in a more effective way to address the needs of your particular individual. Okay, so number 1 on the hit parade, the grounding oils. So you've got in this category, Balance, Cedarwood, Forgive, Peace, and Vetiver. So we've got quite a few blends in there. Term grounding refers to creating a sense of calm and well-being. It has a lot to do with personal aromatic preferences. Essential oils known to have a grounding effect tend to be rich in sesquiterpenes and may act directly on the central nervous system when experienced aromatically. Grounding oils also generally support immune system and cellular health and can be soothing when applied topically. So grounding brings us into a state of balance mentally and physically, and it's in that balanced state that our body can rest, repair, and heal on the physical, emotional, and spiritual level. So when you look at these oils, you can see that while the 5 oils that are listed on the far left of the chart, and the subsequent charts are going to be very similar, all of them have a calming aroma, and others of them have different sorts of, I don't know, let's call it characteristics. So certainly Balance and Peace are both soothing to the soul, can shield and conserve. They have primary fundamentals and are relaxing to the form, meaning our structure, our skeleton, all of our muscles. And then Peace, the same thing. Also Forgive, fascinating. I have to say, I love Forgive. Many of you were probably at the convention or heard the presentation years ago about a doTERRA scientist who talks specifically about the Forgive blend and why it fits a unique niche in our entire catalog, if you will, our entire encyclopedia of essential oils that we offer, and that Forgive specifically pushes some of those buttons that we need to really be completely healthy. So number 2, after our grounding oils, we actually have our restful oils. So our restful oils are the things that contain linalool, linyl acetate, and other terpene compounds, which are present in many floral essential oils, widely known for their ability to induce calm, promote a restful environment, whether they're inhaled and applied to the skin or taken internally, because some of these can be taken internally, and they may calm the nervous system and cleanse, purify, and soothe the skin. So while we have a whole bunch of floral oils here, I'm sure you're probably thinking, what about things like magnolia? Exactly. I would add something like that in there too, or even rose. Those are other essential oils that could be restful, but we want to think about what are the oils that specifically the other person needs. Restful oils can be used aromatically and topically to promote relaxation, encourage calm emotions, lessen feelings of tension, promote stress relief, meditation, and preparation for sleep. Again, when we're looking at this grouping of essential oils, they all have those relaxing and aromatic effects, and they all are cleansing and relaxing to the form, meaning relaxing to the body, the musculoskeletal system. But others of them are soothing to the soul, things like serenity or petitgrain, and then shielding and conserving implies that they also work profoundly on the our systems that are going to keep us healthiest, specifically things that are going to promote and protect our immune system. So we want to use essential oils based on those characteristics. Maybe someone's talking to you about how they love, as you're ready to give your Aroma Touch hand technique, how they really love the smell of flowers and they're feeling a little bit run down. You could absolutely choose something like a lavender, or maybe your serenity. If they like a spicy scent, perhaps, or they want something more citrusy, if spicy, you could choose your coriander, or if you want something more citrusy, you could choose your petitgrain. So working within the parameters of what the person says that they like, because we don't want to put something on their hands that they're not going to like, and then they're going to be wandering around with it all day and thinking, I can't wait to wash this off. We want to give them something that honestly throughout the day, when they breathe in, they feel like I had this amazing technique and I want to spread the word about it because it just makes me feel so wonderful. Okay, let's talk about our uplifting essential oils. Uplifting essential oils are rich in monoterpenes, especially limonene, and tend to uplift the mood. They're primarily citrus oils, as you can see from the chart. Along with their mood modulating benefits, citrus oils have been shown to support things like cognitive, immune, and respiratory health when used internally. Furthermore, they have cleansing benefits, both the internal cleansing and topically for the skin. So you can see there's a lot of citrus oils here, or citrus oil blends. I would add in some of the other ones that are not on this chart. For expedience sake, we have a shorter sort of a chart. And again, you're seeing that repetition of form and actually not only form, but usage. So all of the oils really showing up in the uplifting, the elevating the mind, shielding, concern, cleaning, and cleansing. But those primary fundamentals, the ones that we say, okay, we need this for primary health, only 2 of them are showing up there. And interestingly enough, they're blends. So you have to think to yourself, what else is in that blend that's going to help this person to actually feel better and really boost their immune system? The uplifting essential oils are a great way to boost up your mood, create a peaceful environment in your home. And the ones in the chart are uplifting and mood, mood elevating. I guess that's the best way to talk about it. I love a good citrus oil, I have to say. And when I get my Aroma Touch hand technique, or I'm going to give one, my go-tos are offered something like balance and a wild orange, or balance and a tangerine, something that I like the smell of, or maybe a balance and a bergamot. Just that fresh, clean scent for me is really a 1-2 punch. I might also go for something like a forgive with a floral, because there's not a lot of florals in forgive. It smells more herbally or even spicy to a certain degree. So those are my go-tos. I also want to be massaging with something that I like, despite the fact that I'm giving something away. I want to be also in a pleasant frame of mind as I'm doing as I'm doing the Aroma Touch hand technique. So here's a couple of tips. While there are certain oils that may be very therapeutic, things like, I don't know, celery seed or arbor vitae, or even the DDR prime blend, or oregano, they also tend to be really smelly. And we don't want to give someone an aroma touch technique with something that's really smelly and maybe unpleasant as they go out into the world. Not only we want them to step away from their massage feeling absolutely wonderful, energized, and elevated. We want everyone that they come in contact with, because honestly, they're going to be having this on their hands and they're going to be leaving little bits of their scent all over the place. Everywhere they go, you want people to react with them positively, right? So just keep that in mind. And I know we love our strong oils and we love what they do to us, but do for us, but we really want to keep that in mind. Okay, number 4, clarifying oils. We've got our rosemary, basil, patchouli, marjoram, and spearmint. And they, clarifying oils, give us the ability to actually promote focus. And when we are using them aromatically or topically, some of these obviously can be used internally. They do promote focus and share a couple of other benefits. They're supporting cellular health and immune and respiratory function. So these oils, while they are a little bit more herbally, they're not our super overpowering ones. You don't see oregano on this. You see basil, which can be a little bit sweeter. And they can help promote the mindset you need to complete daily tasks and support overall well-being. They can help us clear the mind, if you will. So when we think of clarifying, we're thinking of the skin, but we're also thinking of the emotions, getting rid of unnecessary distractions, and encourage concentration. So that many of these are used for memory, and also to help unsettle and resolve ambiguous or uncertain feelings. So when we think about clarifying, we're thinking about clarifying the mind, allowing us to make better decisions, and allowing us to be in a better place mentally, perhaps, than we were before. Okay, number 5 are the clean and clear oils, which I have to say, so many of these categories sort of overlap, but you do see different oils on every single page. I'm going to talk specifically about Breathe because it was formulated for the respiratory system, but it isn't the only essential oil that promotes respiratory health. Many of the oils that are on this page all do as well, and actually can promote health not only in the respiratory system, but can combat things like seasonal threats. When we're feeling there's a lot of pollen in the air, our noses are itchy, maybe our eyes are itchy, this might be a wonderful way for us to get some of those oils onto someone's hands so they begin to feel relief from some of those symptoms. They are respiratory supporting oils, and their aroma in general is pretty invigorating. These oils can be inspiring and can encourage us to have feelings of encouragement and refreshment. I like the fact that this chart actually shows us that all of them are clean and clear, of course, because that's the category, but they also have that, you've got a couple that are really good for the shield and conserve area, which is really our immune boosters. Next on the hit parade are our restore and renew oils. There are multitudes of blends and single essential oils that fall into this category. These oils protect the digestive system, whether they're applied topically or taken internally. And in DigestZen, we're actually seeing a 3-fold peppermint, fennel, ginger, which we list individually in case somebody doesn't like the blend. But those are the 3 oils that are in the DigestZen blend that give it that kind of 1, 2, 3 power. They promote the function of the digestive system, and you want to say also that they'll promote cellular health and promote proper functioning of the respiratory system. So you've got someone, perhaps, maybe you're outdoors, maybe you're giving this hand technique at some sort of a fair or an outdoor event. You want to make sure that everybody is feeling like they're breathing properly. Also, if you have a person who's extremely nervous and maybe they're hyperventilating, someone who's crying, respiratory oils can really do the trick, and so can the digestive oils, because it can help them to kind of get that, whatever it is that's stuck there, helping them to find emotional and physical support. These oils are meant to revive, strengthen, and rejuvenate the body and the senses. Okay, let's talk about the cool and soothe oils. We've only got one. This one is our second to last, our penultimate chart. Cool and soothe oils decrease feelings of tension and anxiousness. And these particular blends are formulated, things like Deep Blue or Aroma Touch, to be particularly effective in this area. But oils like Copaiba, lemongrass, and wintergreen can be soothing to the mind and the body, and also the skin. Interestingly enough, you can alleviate issues, both emotional and physical. You might ask the person, what type of scent do you want? You might actually allow them to smell a particular scent. If I were blending two essential oils here, I would definitely use the Deep Blue and the Copaiba, because we already saw the power of that particular blend. If you're using the Deep Blue 5 milliliter, you know there is no fractionated coconut oil in that blend. So you might consider actually putting together a blend of your own in a roller bottle, 10 milliliter roller bottle, or pouring them back into an empty 15 milliliter and adding a little bit of fractionated coconut oil, and then dropping it basically into someone's hand. When we use lemongrass, we want to make sure that we're diluting it with something else. It does tend to be a little hot, if you will. And so we want to make sure that we're not making anybody uncomfortable. Okay, last but not least, the shield and conserve oils. And I have to say, the oils in this category are some of my hands down favorite. And I turn to them again and again for their primary fundamentals, for their soothing and comforting, for their shield and conserving properties, and also their cleansing both inside and out. So when you think of protection, this is probably what you're thinking about. You're thinking of cellular protection, immune system health. There are many single oils that can do that job. I have to say, On Guard is absolutely my favorite. Clove, melaleuca, cilantro, and cassia are also great protecting powerhouses, great for digestive health, cleansing properties, support your overall well-being. They are high in phenols and aldehydes, which are meant for emotional and physical support. So I think that gives you a good idea of what the categories are. If you had your phones out and you took photographs of the screen, I hope you got the information that you need. Okay, so now that you've seen the different categories, I want you to tell me in the chat, what's the blend that you're going to create? So you can say 2, 3, or 4 oils. Don't go beyond 4. I think that gets a little bit complicated, but tell me in the chat, what are you going to prepare? Because I think it's important when we begin to think about the Aroma Touch hand technique, what would maybe be our signature blend, or what would be 2 of the blends that we would want to prepare? I think that's a really, really interesting. So can you tell me in the chat, what 2 oils would you use in your Aroma Touch hand technique? And I'm going to hold on for a second. You want to create a unique blend maybe for your family, or maybe your friends, or maybe your own needs. Now, can you give yourself an Aroma Touch, personally, an Aroma Touch hand technique? I believe that you can. It should be easy for you to do. The only thing that's going to be a little bit tricky is we all have a dominant hand, or at least most of us do. And when you prepare, or when you do the Aroma Touch hand technique with your dominant hand, you may get a little bit of a better treatment than when you do it with your non-dominant hand. But what really, honestly, what's the difference? It's all a matter of getting the oils on and making sure that they work. So Suanby is saying Deep Blue and Copaiba for carpal tunnel. Yes, that's a wonderful, when we talk about the flexibility, and we're talking about people that are suffering, specifically when we know that the study that we saw was about hand flexibility and pain relief. Yes, we can absolutely, and it's interesting. I can actually use the word pain because it was a human trial and it did talk specifically about pain. So I'm not giving you any information that hasn't already been in the public domain, but interestingly enough, we have, I can only talk about it sometimes. Today's one of those days. So cool. We've got, Wendy says, Deep Blue and Peace. Joyce says, oh, wow, consider adaptive. Would I consider adaptive? I absolutely would consider adaptive. I like adaptive because it's a mood elevator. And I think that's a really important thing. We could add something else into that. Lily says deep blue Copaiba, and I think she said fennel here. It's hard for me to say. See, Shirley says Aroma Touch and lavender. Yes. So your blends can really be anything that you want to put together, but we want to make sure that when we're thinking about the categories, we're either blending two categories together. That's something, and you want to test, what does it smell like, right? We don't want to put together a hot mess. We want something that's going to smell good. And then we also want to talk about what are the reactions that we want to elicit in the person, right? So if you're going to be sitting all day long and you're going to be giving aroma touch techniques, perhaps at a fair or at some sort of an event, what is it that you want to accomplish basically for everybody who sits down in front of you, and then also for yourself? At the end of the day, when you walk away, you've allowed yourself to kind of take on the profile, if you will, of the essential oils that you are yourself giving out. Okay, we know that the essential oil, when we give a class on the aroma touch technique, we want to do a couple of things. We want to make sure that people have access to a vial of fractionated coconut oil. We want to add a maximum of 15 drops to our sample when we're doing that. So we're talking about preparing a 10 milliliter sample. And then once you've created your sample, you want to label it, because if you're going to be giving it out all day, somebody may ask you, well, what'd you put in here? What is it? I want to see it. So especially when you're working with people that are outside of your family unit, you want to make sure that you are labeling whatever it is you're putting together. Here's the other thing. We know the aroma touch hand technique step by step. I'm going to walk you through the 4 steps. I'm not going to read them to you though. Keep an eye on your screen. I'm going to just talk about them a little bit. You know, in step 1, we're introducing the oils to the palm of the hand, right? And then we're basically spreading the hand. And then after that, we're going to turn the hand over. But the oil introduction step is important when it comes to the aroma touch hand technique, because it's your opportunity to help the recipient feel comfortable with your touch and ready for the benefits that they're going to get from the rest of the technique. It's also an opportunity to explain what you're going to do. Your pressure should be light to medium pressure, because you're just introducing yourself. It shouldn't be a squishing handshake, right? We want to basically ease the person into the technique. They may be nervous, and you might be nervous too, honestly. Step number 2 is the regional tissue pull. And when you look at the palm of your hand, you can actually pick up your own palm. You can see that the 3 areas are 1, 2, and 3. I think I got that right. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I'm looking through a camera to the side. Sorry if I got that wrong. This is that's where you have the regional tissue pull. The step is all focused on the palm, and the movement is an alternating movement where one thumb goes through the motion and then is followed by the other thumb mirroring that same movement the other way. So it stimulates the skin to start the absorption process. It helps get the oil into the body to receive the benefits of the oil. And the pressure here should be light to medium pressure. If you haven't had a chance to look at the aroma touch hand technique video, I'm not going to show it here for sake of time, because this is kind of a long presentation, but it is a 5-minute video, and I will add it into the comments below. Step number 3 is the pinpoint zone activation, which is basically when you're starting at the base of the wrist and you're alternately working your thumbs down to the tip of the finger, pressing down with medium pressure. So the pinpoint zone activation is very methodical. It should be very methodical, and is done through 3 times through each zone, or each finger, if you will. And the 5 zones start at the point of the wrist and go all the way through the tip of the finger, starting with the thumb and finishing with the little finger. So the pressure here is medium pressure with consistent rhythm. And as I said, you are doing this through each finger. You're not going through one time and then through a second time and then through a third time, right? You're doing the thumb 3 times and then the index finger 3 times, and then so on. So pick a thumb to be the lead thumb, and then a follow thumb. This will help you to keep your lead thumb in front the entire time. Some people have said that it's like walking. I don't know if you can see my fingers, but it's actually not. It's more like shuffling, lead thumb, follow thumb, lead thumb, follow thumb. So you haven't tried an aroma touch hand technique. Those are just some tips to keep in mind. And point number 4, step number 4, final step, is our interphalangeal pull. This is using our thumb and forefinger to pull the tissue between each finger and away from the hand. So this is the way we finish the Aroma Touch hand technique. And you're going to use your pointer finger and your thumb to pull on the tissue, starting where the fingers start to spread apart from each other and pulling away from the body. So you're not pushing it back into the body, pulling away. And the pressure on the step is medium pressure. So full medium pressure with a fluid pulling motion. So I hope this helps you a little bit. I hope gives you the inspiration to go and actually give a hand technique and go and practice. So in my final slide, or one of my final slides, I want you to grab a partner when you get off here today. If we were sitting together, I'd encourage you to grab your partner right now so we could practice right away. I'd encourage you to just get started. But what I'm going to say now is go find someone right after you watch this video. I think it's important that you do a practice as quickly as possible. Grab your partner, grab your kid, your parent, a friend, whatever it is. Next person you see, give them Aroma Touch hand technique. So hopefully if you've enjoyed this, it's inspired you to give an Aroma Touch hand technique today. I have to say, as I mentioned when I first started this, I've had some family member in the hospital and rehab for many, many weeks. And that idea of being able to connect with them hand over hand every single day has been truly miraculous. And I hope that it allows me to step out of my own, my own thinking process, my thoughts. What am I worried about? When we go down to the fundamentals, which are touch and smell, we really can connect with people in ways that we never could do before. Thank you so much for having been here. Please consider subscribing and following us on all social media platforms. Remember, you are amazing. I'm so happy that you were here to join us together. Have a wonderful week, and thank you again for having been here. So today we had really kind of an interesting idea with our with Aroma Touch hand technique. We are good. Trying to stop the share here. Okay, we'll just rest here for a minute until it decides that it wants to go back and do its thing. So one of the things that we love about Aroma Touch hand technique is that it allows us to connect with other people and also to do a service in service to others. And I think that's an important thing for us to keep in mind. I'm going to ask you really quickly, how many of you have actually done Aroma Touch hand techniques in a group setting, perhaps where you've been at an event or you have donated your time at a hospital or an old age home? Just let me know in the chat. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening today. It looks like I'm stuck on here. And it says that I'm screen sharing, so here I am. Anyway, we are, I guess we're going to give away our prizes because that's what we have to do. And I'm not able to stop the screen share, at least for now. So I hope all of you that you can see me. So today we're going to be giving away 2 essential oils that I think everyone will really love. I think we're actually going to give away the Deep Blue and the Copaiba, the ones we talked about in the original sequence and how effective they can be. So our 2 winners today of the Deep Blue and the Copaiba are Loveland Lagman and ST Low. Loveland Lagman and ST Low. You are the winners of the Copaiba and the Deep Blue combination. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Enjoy all this beautiful weather. I think you're all back at school now. Hope you had a terrific break. We're going to be taking the next few weeks. I'm going to be here about 3 more Mondays. And then I'm also going to take a little bit of a break again and go on holiday. So have a wonderful time. It's wonderful to see you, and hopefully I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye now.